bigger. The Amazon alone, not South America. The Amazon alone is bigger than the lower 48 states. So when you put that in perspective, you're like,
yeah, that's major. Okay. Well, listen, before we get started, I would love for you to please introduce yourself whenever you're.
Absolutely. My name is Cacique Antonio. I have a Yukayeki here in New York City, tri-state area. Cacique means chief in the Arawak Nation in the Taino language. And just really working with these sacraments and these plants for the last few years. I've been working with them for a long time, but ceremonial and serving the community for the last few years. Working with some really amazing people, the Taino community out in the Bronx, Modern Mystics NYC, shout out to Inaruti. I'm working with In One Heart. I'm part of the cityoflightperu.org. You check that website out as well. And we're focusing on a lot of POC retreats. We do work with everyone, regardless of race, color, creed, but we are definitely providing a lot of sacred spaces for POC community to come in and be vulnerable, and heal from the trauma that we put ourselves through in our lives, and the trauma our first people to traumatize us, our parents. And,
yes, that inner child, man. Yes.
Yeah, and then and of course the ancestral trauma in our DNA, going back 7 generations. So I'm excited to be here on your podcast. We've been going back and forth for months, so I'm really glad this is coming full circle and bringing more awareness to these plants as the pharmaceutical companies are coming to colonize our medicine. So I have mixed feelings about that, because it's really amazing that the medical industry is embracing psilocybin, MDMA, 5-MeO-DMT. Clinical trial just started. Psilocybin, magic mushrooms, clinical trials already passed, so that probably will be prescribed by 2023. MDMA also has passed all the clinical trials.
Ecstasy. No offense, but I just read that. Yeah, I literally had to pull. Excuse me, just to interject really quickly, because I'm like, if you're talking psychedelics, I need to get abreast of psychedelics outside of the documentaries that you've shared with me and the resources that you shared with me to do my homework. I wanted to go back and just do also my own work in addition to what you've provided me with. And I think I did like a brief introduction on these are all right. So these were officially called hallucinogens, correct?
Yeah, and that's a very misleading myth. And that's one of the myths that I've had, bringing people from the POC community in the city, in the barrios, in the ghettos, in the hoods to come start their healing and remembrance process. Because the first thing they say is, I don't want to hallucinate. I don't want to hallucinate.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, let's talk. Then that's what I want us to get. I want us to get down to the nitty gritty of. Let's clear up all of the stigma. If we can do that today, let's start from the bottom up, because my people may not have any knowledge. They may not even know. Some of them may have heard psychedelics. Is that and I know you don't really even like to use that term, but we'll talk about that later.
I use the word psychedelic just for Western society purposes, so people understand that more. But the real word is entheogens, entheogenic plants, entheogenic experiences, entheogenic meaning sparking the God within. Yeah. So, anybody that actually takes on this plant medicine path, there's people that can go do, one ayahuasca and that healing can last them 2 or 3 years and they're fine, but everybody's healing looks different.
Yes.
So some people work with different medicines like me. Since I was a kid, I've been working with different medicines, and I took the time out to build a relationship with each medicine so that I can guide my community properly, because not everybody needs ayahuasca right away. Not everybody needs mushrooms right away. Some people just need MDMA and a talk therapist for 5 hours to clear up a lot of blockages or emotions or things they got going. Some people got so much going on, they need to go straight to the ayahuasca. Some people are not really grounded too much in this reality, and they need something like cactus medicine, like San Pedro cactus or peyote, because that medicine is very grounding. It grounds you here, it makes you focus in this realm. You don't really go anywhere. It's an internal journey. So yeah, and there is some plant medicine people that don't work with like LSD or MDMA because it's processed, so it's chemical, but at the end of the day, LSD is an amazing medicine, and it still comes from a Black prehistoric mold. So it still comes from Pachamama. Pachamama is the name for earth in Central South American indigenous cultures. And even MDMA, the core chemical is sassafras. So it still comes from the earth. It comes from a plant, even though it's synthesized. And all these medicines have their place depending on your intention and what you're looking to heal or what you're looking to explore. Because most people do start off their plant medicine journey to heal, whether it's trauma, childhood trauma, pain, suffering, disease, discomfort. You get sometimes people that are diagnosed with cancer and they're terminally ill. In the FDA clinical trials for psilocybin mushrooms, they gave it to elderly people that were terminally ill from cancer and were going to die. And when you look that up, it's amazing. After the clinical trials was over, none of these people were no longer scared of death. They were okay with passing away. And that's big, especially I've known a lot of people that passed from cancer that was very dear to me. I know some people that are still going through cancer treatment now that are really scared of dying.
And indigenous cultures prepare you for death. That's deep.
Oh, that is deep. I mean, it's on the Egyptian walls, right? The transitioning and the underworld into the higher realms.
Yes.
You got the sacred mushroom and datura, another very powerful plant medicine that most people never journey with. Those things are painted on the Egyptian, on the Great Pyramids. So we're not only preparing ourselves how to die and how to transition, but we're not giving our elders the rite of passage. We're not doing the ceremonies that we need when our elders pass away. So that's where my vision quest has recently
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that, because, I embarked on this journey. I think the spiritual enlightenment really began when my mom was transitioning and me having a moment with her. I know, thank you. It is well. She is here there with us. And me having that spiritual connection with her at that moment. And then also those who have gone before her I was able to feel them, but I was also able to have that dialogue with her, letting her know as she was transitioning that it's okay. I was like, I'm like, do you feel that? I'm like, we will always be together. Like, I remember having that conversation with her at that moment. And then, my folks are from Ghana. I think I told you West Africa. Her sisters, after the mortician beautified her, they also had their own ceremony. So like you said, the rites of passage. And I watched it. I watched them wrap her up in different cloths. I watched them. It was like different colors. There was beads used. I remember my aunt was really mad at me, particularly because I was supposed to get a pair of knee highs. And then I remember her saying, you answered, like, she was upset with me. You make sure you tell your mother why she doesn't have any socks on when she goes. I was like, right? Can you imagine? I was like, Dad, you're gonna scare me like this. Like, right, go put that on. But it's fine because my mom was a woman that always had her feet out, so she ain't need them stockings anyway.
That's so beautiful that you share that. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem. So thank you for you struck that for me to have this conversation. You struck that for me to share that based on, you said, the rites of passage. So it makes sense because the elders especially, they do things, they don't explain it to us. They don't, and unfortunately, sometimes if we don't ask the right questions, it can die off with them.
It is dying off, and that's where I'm coming back, and I'm bringing back the ancient ways of indigenous. I'm Taino from the Caribbean. That was the Tainos. We're part of the Arawak Nation. So everything from South Florida, all the Caribbean was Arawak Nation, the land of the Tainos, until the colonizers brought over our African brothers and sisters, and we merged with them. But even recently, they found Taino hieroglyphics all the way in petroglyphs in North Carolina. So even in history, colonization is all about forgetting who you are and where you come from and what your people are, what your customs are, and they've done a really good job at that. And but not to get sidetracked, I mean, it's just thank you for sharing that, because I had a vision quest of mine come to a close when I was in California 2 weeks ago doing my own medicine work, because it's very important for medicine people to do their own medicine work as well. And I had a vision quest, and when you do vision quests in indigenous or plant medicine, some of them are like years long, some of them are months, some of them are a weekend. And I had a lifelong vision quest come to close. And in the Taino mythology, we got the guava and the bat, and the guava is life, the bat is death. And my last name is Cuevas. So my tribe is from the caves, and we have the Taino Semi. The Semi is the Taino deities. We have 12 of them, and one of them is the bat, and he lives in the caves, and it's the entrance to the underworld. And I've actually had some of my ceremonies turn into seances where people, so I actually hold that portal. So I will be an indigenous death doula moving on forward, where I will give elders the rite of passage, and there's different ways to even walk them through the underworld, like taking 15 grams of the sacred mushrooms and walking them literally through the underworld.
Wow.
And do it with other medicines too, like ayahuasca. And if you really, ayahuasca or yahe, and if you're really, really, really spiritually developed, if you had a lot of soul progression and you really worked on yourself to remember who you are at the deepest level, you can also work with, you could do it with the toad medicine, the 5-MeO-DMT, the Bufo aureus. But ideally, the sacred mushroom allows you to be in that space long enough to really help elders transition. And you can really walk them through. So these are the things that these are some of the most important, one of the most important things to my personal journey that we've lost through colonization is learning how to die. And what do you do when you die? Because it's a very traumatic experience, and it's so traumatic because it's so different from this realm. So that's why in indigenous and ancient cultures, they prepared you how to see on medicine, how to see with your third eye, and how to walk in that underworld when it's time to not be here no more. Because you have to go through the underworld to get to the higher realms of consciousness, where ultralight being places are, where people like Jesus and Buddha are. So, these are a lot of, and if you study ancient indigenous cultures or ancient cultures, you see the rituals in there. From their little kids, they're showing us and they're teaching us how to transcend this realm. So this realm is very important. This is why we're here. There's a reason why we're here. But the spirit and the spiritual realms are also just as important. We're just here to learn our lessons, all our karmatic lessons. And once we learn our karmatic lessons, we don't necessarily have to come back here anymore. But many of us still choose to, because it is the only physical realm where I can hug you and touch you and love you. So even higher levels of consciousness and higher levels of spiritual evolution is all energy. So even, so many of us.
You going fast, you dropping knowledge. I'm like, okay, got it. Go back into that seance, because when you hear the word seance, it's like, what's going on there? Break it down for me for the
right, the Western mind.
They don't scare us.
Yeah.
I remember hearing Kanye West, just kids no Pharaoh, something seance. And so Kanye West. So tell me about, what is a seance?
Seance is just basically being able to commune with someone that has passed. And a lot of times our elders or a friend or someone who is dear to us, they're stuck in the underworld because, again, they haven't prepared us how to maneuver in these planes. So, I've had mushroom ceremonies and ayahuasca ceremonies turn into full-blown seance where people have been able to commune with their dead mom or a child that passed away, and was able to give them the rites of passage and tell them to move forward. And it's a very powerful experience. It's a very humbling experience. And some of those experiences I will be processing and integrating to the day I die. Because they're very, very powerful, but they're very beautiful.
Yes. You're right. So I'm like, so what happened with my mom at that moment? Could that potentially have been a form of?
Well, absolutely, it can be. Absolutely. I mean,
yes, because that's what it felt like.
Yeah, if you felt that connection and you felt that, I mean, that's a very important time, and I'm really glad that you were there when she passed, because not only are we not giving the rites of passage to our elders and preparing them how to die, and we're not preparing, many of us not even there when our elders would pass away. So, it's a blessing that she had you there, and absolutely that could be a form of a seance if you made that connection and you felt it. So back to that leads me back to the hallucination part, right? Right. Oh, I don't want to hallucinate. Oh, I'm seeing things. But anybody that comes does a plant medicine ceremony or fungi or cactus or work with amphibians, no one comes out of that experience talking about they was hallucinating.
Right.
They're never
what do they call it?
That.
What is the term used?
You're actually embarking on an interdimensional journey, and you're remembering who you are at a multidimensional level, because the conscious mind, the consciousness, we have 5 bodies, but the consciousness is housed in the physical, in the third. So when we have dreams, or we astral project, or we transition, all we're doing is transfer our conscious to one of our other bodies. But we do have 5 bodies that we simultaneously have and work with. You have the physical, you have the astral, you got your ethereal, you got your mental, and you got your casual, and you got your light body, which is how you have access to the highest forms.
Higher being. That's what they say. The higher being. Make peace with that higher being. Okay, got it. Yeah. Go ahead. Keep going. It's good. Don't worry.
Yeah. So when we do a medicine, that's what we're doing. We're transferring our consciousness to these bodies that we have, that are ours, our sacred self. So, because in Western society, they made us think that we're not a part of anything. Like, we're humans and we're here to work in this concrete jungle, when we are a part of the earth. We are part of the trees. We are part of the animals. We're a part of it, not a part of it. So, we forget that we're earthlings on the planet Earth, and this is our home. And Western society is doing it all wrong. The materials we build our house from, concretes, if you talk to like indigenous and ancient shamanic kids, when they bring them up to like United States to talk, they talk to like, why do you have shoes on? Like, how do you feel your mother? Because in ancient culture, Earth is your mother, right? Why do you have so much clothes and a hat on? How do you feel your father? Because the sun is your father.
Yes.
How do you convene with your grandmother, the moon? So, so when you talk to these kids, the shamanic babies, like the Kogis from mountains of Peru or Colombia, you can find footage of them talking. Those babies are left in a cave up to like 13 years old with a little bit of sunlight coming in, and elders come in and teach them. And when they come out at 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, I mean, their chakras are lit and wobbling, and they can see completely with the third eye. Ooh. So one of the main reasons that these ceremonies are always done in the dark is because you use your third eye to see, and you need to be in the dark to do that.
Come through with the word. Sorry, that was deep right there. That was deep right there. Because do you ever, just to bring it to just that statement in itself, a lot of these ceremonies are done in the dark and you have to use your third eye. It's kind of almost equivalent to how we have to struggle a little bit on this earth and have to really tap into that spiritual portion of us to get out. Sorry, just had a connection. That was all.
Yeah, great. Yeah, no, that was awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Right now you have a lot of dark retreats coming out where you don't even take any medicine. You're in the dark for about 7 days and you're juice fasting. Some go up to 10 days. Towards the end of those retreats, you're seeing in complete infrared. You can see people's full auric fields and bodies. You can see all the holographic without any medicine. And not any medicine. A lot of people don't understand it. There's tons of DMT in our body. Tons of DMT in our body. That's why breath work works. When you do breath work for 90 minutes or 2 hours straight, go to a breathwork session, people are having entheogenic psychedelic experiences because so much DMT is in your lungs. Then when melatonin turns into serotonin when you wake up, when you see light. When you stay in the dark, your melatonin turns into DMT. So these dark room retreats are getting really popular, although they've been around for like 20 years. It's something that's kind of been hidden for the real esoteric occult metaphysicists or spiritualists. But yeah, they're getting real popular right now. And Marcus Aubrey's pretty famous for bringing, he owns a company On It. Aubrey Marcus. He did a dark retreat recently, and he filmed it, and he did a documentary out on it. So that's out now, and I believe you can stream it free on his website. So, yeah, like everything we've been told is just about being in this physical existence, which is very important. But it is an ego-driven reality that we live in, and the ego doesn't exist in the multiverse, doesn't exist in higher realms, but it's important that we have an ego here because the ego does protect us here. So a lot of times in medicine, people, you hear medicine or psychonauts talk about, oh, ego death and chill, ego death, but you need the ego because it protects us here. When you're out and about in the world and you feel someone might be following you or walking you, or you feel your gut institution, that's your ego protecting you. And no matter how humble we are, the ego is always there. But with, realistic with plant medicine and ceremonial and spiritual work is about bringing the ego down so it's aligned with the spirit. So a lot of times, even on medicine, when people have a death experience, it's really your ego dying. It's really your ego dying. And it can be a very scary, traumatic, powerful experience for some and many. Different medicines, they can all provide an ego death experience, and they all can provide a death experience where you feel like you died and became omnipresent with all of universal truth. So that's why I will be working as a death doula, and not just a death doula, but I'm also going to be doing retreats in the future on showing people the rites of passage and how to work with entheogenic plants for transition in the afterlife.
Okay. So let's talk about, since you mentioned retreats, you want to discuss the retreats that you actually have coming up currently in the process?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for allowing me to open that up. So
Please,
I got one coming up. I got one coming up real soon right now. It's like right around the corner. We still got some spaces. That's in Tulum, Mexico, from the 5th to 11th. Shout out to my sister, Fairy Hawk, Manifest Your Soul on Instagram, Seek the Empress on Instagram. There's some few spots left. That's from the 5th to 11th.
May 5th to May 11th.
And we'll be working with the toad medicine. And it's not just about medicine. We do a lot of things first to cleanse and clear. Different limpiezas. Limpiezas mean cleansings. So I do a lot of limpiezas on people. We go to sacred sites and we meditate before we even do any type of medicine. We do that for a few days.
Right.
Then we do the medicine. We're going to be working with the toad, Bufo Ararius. And then we got about 4 days before the retreat's over. So people have enough time to integrate their spirit back into their body. And then at the end of July, I've got Costa Rica. That's July 17th to the 24th. That's a 7-day retreat with 4 ceremonies. That's working with Yahe. Yahe is a much older version of ayahuasca. And that's going to be in a beautiful retreat center. It's in the jungles, but it's walking distance to the beach.
Oh my God, that sounds nice. And this is in Costa Rica.
Yeah, and that's going to be amazing. That's going to be powerful.
Sounds good. That's around my birthday.
I would love to. You should come on down. I would love
oh my gosh.
I would love to have you. It's a beautiful place to be, even if you don't do medicine, just being there.
In the vicinity, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure it's like life-changing.
And okay, so with a really good brother, Behike brother. Behike means medicine man in Taino language. Very amazing brother. He's actually a talk therapist by trade.
Nice.
Out in Oakland, but he's been deep into the jungles and worked with the Sequoia tribe and learned directly from Sequoia elders. I mean, some of these elders are like 110 years old, and the Sequoia tribe has never been colonized, and they never were conquered by the Inca, because the Inca were also very imperialistic. So the Incas had the biggest indigenous nation in American histories, from Bolivia all the way to Ecuador. So indigenous cultures never had slaves, but they were imperialistic. They would conquer other tribes and assimilate them into them. So that's why Yahe is much older than ayahuasca, because ayahuasca has a lot of belief systems from different tribes that was absorbed. Where Yahe, those tribes were never conquered by the colonizers or conquered by the Inca. So the Yahe ritual, the medicines go back up to 5,000 years. It's a very pure tradition that has not been diluted. And yeah, we have some amazing elders out there that we guess their age because of the historical events they lived through.
Wow.
So really
That's really cool.
You know?
That's really cool. Wait, so hold on. So let's just talk about health benefits, because everybody wants, like, what are the health? I mean, wait, before I go into health benefits, excuse me, let me retract myself. You mentioned the brother that does talk therapy by trade. I want to bring that up because that's something that you mentioned that also caught my eye. And you mentioned to me in our dialogues about the new wave of talk therapists that are go.
Yeah, I mean, everywhere you go, in this, because what's happening is a lot of these medicines are going to be prescribed real soon for mental health, because they've proven to beat treatment-resistant PTSD. They've proven to beat anxiety and depression, and it's been proven. Even some people that had like electroshock therapy and shock their brain, none of that works. Then they go do 5 grams of mushrooms, and they're like reborn. So,
fantastic fungi.
What's beautiful is that science is now proven what indigenous ancient cultures have been telling us for a long time about these medicines, because they done strapped up the head with all the brainwave stuff,
electrical,
and gave people the psilocybin mushrooms, gave people the ayahuasca, gave people the 5-MeO-DMT, the toad medicine. And we can see what it does in the brain. So, mushroom psilocybin just creates all these new neurons and all these new pathways that you never had before. And then you can stack that with something like lion's mane mushrooms that you can buy at vitamin shop. And lion's mane mushroom make the receptors permanent. Make those pathways permanent. So then you got then DMT, the toad medicine, the 5-MeO-DMT.
Sorry.
And then the toad restores everything.
That's what you've been doing.
I personally work with the toad medicine now.
Mushrooms.
I used to do mushroom ceremonies, one-on-ones, and I used to co-facilitate a lot of ayahuasca. I'm personally working with the toad medicine now, and I'm co-facilitating with the Cacique brother down in Costa Rica that lives in Oakland. That's the therapist. I'm working with him and building a ukayeki, and ukayeki means village in the Taino language. So to have a ukayeki, you need a cacique, you need a behike. But back to the toad medicine. The toad medicine restores your brain completely. I mean, you can see the imaging, your serotonin, your oxytocin. I mean, it's just like, and people that have done the toad medicine in the lower dosages where they're completely present, what I call a meditation dose, can feel the brain being repaired. And usually for about 30 days after the toad medicine, your mood is enhanced, you're feeling good. I mean, it just really restores everything. And then the science behind ayahuasca is amazing too, because ayahuasca is the only medicine that merges the two front of your cortex of your brain. One is for decision making, the other one is for emotions. And they're never merged. That's why we make so much messed up decisions in life, because our emotions and our logical decision making is not together. So we'll do some stuff, and then after he's like, oh, wow, I do that. Oh my God. So when ayahuasca merges those parts of your brain, that's how a lot of healing comes into play, because you start realizing why things happen. Not making excuses for anything that you've been through, any pain or trauma or any suffering, but you understand the why. And to me, when people can understand why something happened to them or why they've been through something, that understanding is what allows them to heal and move forward from that, instead of just holding on to it all their life saying, oh, why me, God? Why that happened to me? Why this, that, there? All of a sudden they understand their pain. They understand their suffering. They understand what they did to themselves. They understand why someone else might have harmed them. Because I tell you, I'm part of many medicine groups and many circles, and I've organized a lot of retreats myself. And I do a lot of integration, and integration is like talk therapy in the morning. Once people come back from the one part of integration is actually verbalizing this with someone that knows what you experience and someone that's used these plants themselves for their own healing. And integration, once you come out these medicines, you're very raw. You're at your rawest. Your guard is down. Your conscience is open.
Oh man, you have just blessed us. Exactly. Look at that. Froze on that image. He has blessed us with more than enough. He's given us more than enough information for us to go back and research each and every aspect, okay? So it's not a trip. It's not a trip. These are journeys, spiritual journeys.
There we go.
Yeah, okay, I'm like, this is spiritual journeys. You guys will have to come back for part 2. We're going to call this Psychedelics? I don't know. We'll get a cool name for it. But but we're going to come back. This is going to be, we're going to have these series with you. You're going to come back. You're going to tell us more about what happens after you come out of the medicine. We're going to learn, and then and we're going to discuss the dialogues and the exchanges that happens then, because clearly the universe and or the powers that be don't want you to give that out right now. Because every time you were ready to say it, it was like, so we're going to respect it. We're going to respect the powers that be. You've given us so much information. I'm going to have to go back in, and in my notes, I'm going to have to be getting these links and these, just some of the links and things of that nature. I'll add it. Of course, I'll include it in the newsletter. Thanks for subscribing to the newsletter too.
Thank you, of course, absolutely. We got to support each other.
I told her this morning, I was like, oh, so we'll be including that in the newsletter. That will actually be available for anyone to click on so that they can learn more about signing up for the retreat. One coming up on May 5th. I'm most likely going to air this weekend. I'll air this podcast this weekend. So May 5th to May 11th, they got the Toad Medicine and Cleanse and Clear in Tulum, Mexico. And then July 17th to July 24th, the Costa Rica. Sounds like an awesome, you're going to be in the jungles, and the jungles are next to the beach, and then there's a talk therapist on site. We'll have all of that information. Just, all you got to do is get the links.
Oh, wow. August 1st to the 12th.
This is the third one.
August 12th to the 1st, there's going to be 2 ayahuascas, Machu Picchu, San Pedro cactus with some beautiful elders. And I work directly with Costa Rica and Peru to keep the retreats extremely accessible. You're not going to find these retreats at the prices that I have. You're just not. People are charging almost double of what I'm charging. I'm making these retreats super accessible to people. Costa Rica is like $2,000 for 7 days, 4 ceremony, food included, everything's included. Peru is really far, so that's 12 days. All food included, all the sacred sites, Machu Picchu, all the ceremonies, the retreat center. That's $2,800. Okay. There is a sliding scale for people that really need it. But yeah, I mean, you're just not gonna. What I'm doing is no one else is doing.
Yeah.
So
because it's an international flight, food included, and you're getting medicinal. You're getting medicine.
Not the flights. That's the only
not the
thing.
Flight. Sorry, not the flight.
Yeah.
But
everything else.
Everything else. Okay, so you basically so food included, medicine, hotel, the accommodations or whatnot. Basically, got it for the experience.
Any tours we go to, any sacred sites we go to, everything is covered. So you just bring money like for shopping and things you want to buy. And Peru is an amazing place for us people from the inner cities, for us to go to. None of us come back the same. A lot of us receive healings that last us a really, really long time. That don't mean you don't come back and stay doing your work, but but you do receive quantum leaps type of experience. And the elders that I work with are just amazing. They're all in their heart, and they're very knowledgeable about spirit and history and medicine, and you just learn a lot and you experience a lot. And the Andes Mountains, I tell you, if you've never been there, everyone should go to the Andes Mountains, whether it's in Peru, whether it's Ecuador, Colombia. It is really a divine place. I mean, you really see the hand of God in these places, and you're just like, wow. Once you get out these concrete jungles and you get into the real jungle, the real mountains, you really start seeing like what I call the veins of God, because it's just like really a beautiful place. Just being there, absorbing the energy, recharging, getting away from this EMF that we're bathing in. EMF. Yeah, electromagnetic frequencies that we're bathing in, 5G, cell phones, all this stuff. It's really throwing off our bodies, Come
even on, God body, you're giving me God body vibes. God body.
Yeah, I mean, even Harvard proved that Wi-Fi is killing the trees. So imagine what it's doing to us.
Look at my daughter. She'll be like, Uncle Chase, do you have Wi-Fi? I'm like, girl.
Yep.
Get the program. the Wi-Fi. Like,
so yeah, it's good to get out of these places for a nice amount of time and just let your body recharge with planet Earth, and get the real ether from the mountains and the jungles and the planets and the trees. So yeah, I mean, like I said, whoever feels the call, they reach out to you, reach out to me.
Yes. I'll put your link directly on the newsletter so that they can just get straight whatever. You have a website that they can do these, like to do the inquiries and so forth and so on, to get themselves like set up. Give me the link. I'll put it right on the newsletter. Let's do that. Okay. Just mention, are you mad? Let them know that let them know that you learned it from here.
Absolutely.
That's all I ask. That's all I ask. I just want to see it. I want to know about the experience. I want to know about your experiences. Let's discuss it. Let's talk more.
Yeah, it'd be awesome to have some
retreats next to you. Look, you may see me on the retreats. It's all about learning. It's all about knowledge. It's all about understanding like our roots, where we came from. Because like you said, through the colonization or colonizing or whatnot, we have been farly removed from it. And those here and even some even on the continent and back home, they've also been conditioned to find this place superior. Meanwhile, they're coming into our homelands and taking our resources and then capitalizing on it and finding chemicals to match it and or replicate it in different forms. So, don't kill a messenger. We're just here to provide you with the truth. And it's always a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor and a privilege to be on your show. Thank you.
Oh my God, if you guys don't know, I know Miss Antonio from high school. We went to the same high school together. So this is so cool. And I had a dream. I told him, I was like, I had a dream about you. We're not gonna talk about what the dream was about, but the point of the matter is that we knew that we were gonna work together. So this is so dope. And as you guys can see, and as you can even hear, this is all divine. Okay, this is for you. This has been for you. If you are receiving this message, if you got this message, peace with you. Continue on your search, your journey to heal. Click the links, learn about more, do your own research, and let us know.
Yeah, and I'm based in Jersey, New York, so I'm always accessible to the tri-state area. I spend a lot of time in Florida, California. I spend a lot of time down in Mexico. I'll be in Mexico next month, Peru as well. But I'm always accessible for my community. I take my healing and my community's healing very serious. And if my community not right, I'm not right.
That's right. Well, on that note, we won't let you go. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for opening your platform to make people aware. We got to cause more awareness on this. We got to cause, because our communities are, they're all about numbing. Psychiatric drugs and alcohol and pills, and plant medicine is about feeling. So it's time to stop the numbing.
Yes, feelings. Okay, let me go. They're good. Peace. Oh, he's dope. Okay, man.